Hello and welcome to Knowledge by Nature. In today's video, I'm going to have another week of lesson planning, and I feel like every week is just a little bit different, and this is no different than the weeks before, where we are going to be seeing just a little bit of change in the way that I'm planning, some of the things I'm omitting. And one thing that we did over the weekend is, here I'm planned out for this week, but we actually did a little bit of school this weekend. Now, it was not much. One, I had her do the Fix-It grammar, which we had kind of gotten one day off, and so it was kind of messing with my rhythm. And so we fixed that over the weekend, where I had her do one page on Sunday, and then that made it to where when we started out on Monday that we were on our full week. Because if you haven't seen Fix It Grammar, and I'll put my little video here where I did it, what we do is we have 1 week of learning and we do one page, and then we have 3 more pages, day 2, day 3, day 4, and that rounds it out to a 4-day week with this. And I really like keeping it that way. And so we just did that one page. One, she likes Fix-It Grammar, so it wasn't really a big deal anyways. And 2, it takes maybe 5 minutes to do the whole page. So it was just a super easy way to catch up, to make sure that when we started this week, which I knew would be a 4-day week, there's no way we're doing a 5-day school week this week. So I knew that I wanted to be able to not have another one kind of looming over my head. And so that is what we did. And that way we started out fresh, week 1 or week 7, and we were starting at the beginning of the week. And I liked that a lot. Now, something else we did is just kind of spur of the moment. I saw like a little science experiment thing, and it was on the states of matter, so we did that. We also have been reading a nature book at bedtime, and that's another thing. I'm thinking about utilizing bedtime just a little bit for some of the reading that I would like to do more of as far as science and history, and being able to do that at bedtime. And so I'm going to play with this idea for a few weeks and see how that goes, if we like it, and maybe throw in some of these extra little experiments, and especially with history. I just have so many ideas for that I could start doing a few of those on the weekend, and that way it doesn't extend our day a whole lot. And that's another change that I'm wanting to make, is to shorten our school day a little bit, because we're getting into the beginnings of spring. We're gonna start getting some nicer weather, and I wanna be able to go out and enjoy that. I want her to be able to go out and enjoy that. And if we're sitting here doing a ton of work, and maybe not work that I wanna prioritize, for instance, about a month ago, or maybe even more than that, we started adding in all these story elements where we were talking about the plots and the characters and the settings and similes and metaphors and figurative language, all of that kind of stuff. I mean, you can just see from this week right here how jam-packed that was, full of stuff. Well, even though a lot of these things right here don't take very much time, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, it adds up. Then you add on the fact that I try to video for Instagram, some of the things that we do, that adds up too. So one of the changes that I've personally been making is with those Instagram stories. And if you want to follow along with us, be sure and check us out here, because I do share a lot on a weekly basis, a day-to-day basis on that. But I am switching that up a little bit to where we work for a good long time, and then I'm kind of showing you everything that we've done from that time frame. But I feel like I'm kind of rabbit trailing a little bit here. But what I'm mainly getting at is that I am trying to prioritize what I really, really want accomplished in this last part of our year. So it's crazy that we're already halfway through this 4th grade year. And so that is why I am honing in on the things that I want to touch on. Do I really feel like figurative language is necessary for our homeschool for the remainder of the year? No, I don't think that it is. Does that mean I'm not going to talk about it if we happen to read about it or something? No, I'm not. I'm going to bring up, hey, this is a simile, or hey, check out this onomatopoeia. So it's not that I won't talk about those, but I'm not going to take any dedicated school time for it for right now. Now, maybe once we get into those summer days, I might rotate some of that stuff back in. But right now, you're not going to see that figurative language, and you're not going to see those story elements coming in to the planning right now. I am prioritizing writing. Okay. Writing is key, okay? It's right up there with math, okay? Math and writing are huge priorities right now. We're doing really well on dimensions, which I have over here. We are about to be finishing up 4A, and then we're going to be going over into 4B. And generally, the second half goes just a little bit quicker. I feel like in the past, in my experience anyways, this is like, 5 years, I guess, with Singapore math. And usually B is just a little less heavy. I feel like you go through it just slightly quicker than you do. I'm hoping that proves true this year as well. Then writing. We have started doing the samples on IEW. I think it is going to be a huge hit. She loves the videos, which really surprises me because she hasn't really been a video-based person before. She loves video games. She loves watching TV. But when it comes to teaching style, she wants that one-on-one. But she loves IAW. So that is what is tying in with our writing. That is going to be our main writing. And then we are continuing to do Redwood Literacy because it is helping get those sentences really, really good. So for instance, this week we're working on the 5 W's. And so really we're just looking at pictures. I'm pulling up a picture on the tablet and we're asking the 5 W's, which I happen to just have wrote on this because we did it this morning. So who is this about? What, when, where, why? And we're verbally answering those questions. And I'm also trying to have her beef up her sentences a little bit, which ties in with also where's it at? Oh, sentence construction, okay? Which is this right here that I found on Teachers Pay Teachers. This is only week 3 of this sentence construction, and I can already see a really good progression in her sentence. So like the first week might have just been a girl is riding the bus. Well, this week, Eliza went to listen to her book and it got interesting. So she got her notebook and writes stuff in her book. Okay, that's pretty nice. You know, we're giving detail to the person and what exactly, she's not just writing, what is she writing? And so I love that she is getting deeper into that sentence building, which is going to tie in with this IAW when we start doing writing with that. Right now, we're doing a lot of keyword outlines. It's very gentle at the beginning, which I'm loving because that's what she needs at the moment. And so I have that all broken down. I have the things that I needed printed off for IAW. So these things are important for me. So that is why Redwood Literacy is staying, and that is why sentence construction is staying, because that is writing. That is a big priority for the rest of the year. Those things are what I want to focus on along with math. Okay, so those are my two big priorities. And so as you may be looking at the end of the year and you start getting a little bit panicked, you may need to do this as well. Prioritize your big ones and then go from there. Another thing that we will be working with pretty extensively is our spelling and our fix-it grammar. We're going to continue with that. So fix-it grammar, we've already talked about. Spelling this week actually isn't tying in with spelling connections very much. And so I'm actually splitting the actual teaching up a little bit. So we began with step 11 this morning, and this is on Monday. And so we talked about a little bit of word analysis. This is just review section. And then we come to the new teaching of these phonograms. Now, this is not specifically new teaching because we have spoke of these phonograms before. We know what sounds that they make, but really we were talking about it in the instance of we moved over some of these to a suffix. And so we started talking about suffixes today. We had consonant suffixes and we had vowel suffixes. And so today was a lesson of working with consonant suffixes. So what I did is I got our little mini writables here and I put the suffixes on the end. That way she didn't have to rewrite these every time. She would use those. I would dictate a word, which happens to be number 1 was quickly. So we had this little coffee mug right here, and so she would write the base word on this. So I would say quickly, and she would need to write the base word of quick on here and then find the matching consonant suffix to go with it. And that is how we did Monday's lesson for our spelling. Now you see I have even more new teaching this week where we are teaching about loan, only, and rule breakers. And so we will go over this on Tuesday, and I really think I might stop there and then pick up a silent E, identifying the silent E on day 3. And then day 4 is going to be practicing a lot of these words and dictating sentences. And so with this more words, I'm going to pull these back out because this makes her happy. It makes spelling even more of a breeze. And so I will be utilizing our mini writables a lot for step 11. And looks like step 12 is vowel suffixes, so I foresee us doing that again. So I don't have any spelling connections workbook with this, so none of that will really be independent work this week, but it is all things that will be fun, and we will be doing a lot of good stuff to go along with that. As I talked about last week, I discovered that I need to put science at the beginning of the week because I love history. That is what I want to really put a lot of energy into. And so I know that if I get science done on Monday and Tuesday, I will somehow work history in here somehow. It doesn't matter how many days we're going to school, history will happen. And so I have learned about myself that if I just put science at the beginning, history automatically gets done. So as far as history goes, we are doing a little bit of a different change on that. I have been using America's Story with history pockets, but I'm doing a little bit of a change here, and I'm going to start using this a lot more. And we did this last week, and it went really, really well. Let me get this book right here. If You Lived in Colonial Times is the spine that goes with this section of Colonial Times. We love this. This is such a fun little read. So we really, really enjoyed this. It ties in perfectly with history pockets. I'm loving the way that these are tying in. Again, follow us on Instagram if you want to see like all the fun little things that we do with our history throughout the week. We have a couple of fun experiments, or not really experiments, activities this week. Let me show you. I also went to the library this week and I got like 20 something books that is recommended out of this section here. One of the reasons I didn't use this to begin with is I didn't have very good due diligence, to be honest. I didn't check this out very much, and I felt like, oh, it's going to be hard to like really get started. And then I also wanted to talk about pre-colonial, which is where we started using core knowledge, which is fantastic. It really is great. So we really dived deeper into pre-colonial times, everything that was kind of happening, all the explorers that were coming into the area before that. But then we've entered the period where we were going to start talking about this. And I just hadn't really checked this out very well to know how much I liked this and how much she liked it. I figured, oh, it's just a little picture book. This isn't going to be very cool. But it is. It's super cool. It talks about all these things right here, like what laws did people have to obey? Did people work hard? What kind of medicines did people use? It's chock full of information, and I really, really enjoy it, which I knew I would love this. When I first looked at it, but I don't know. We've had a busy season, and I need to do a big life update because the whole first of this year was just something else. And so I was needing something that was more open and go, like I didn't have to think about piecing anything together. But really, this is great. It gives me so many ideas. I have a flip through on this. I'll put it right there. They did gift this to me, but listen, I'm loving it. I'm using it. I just needed to like do some more study on it. And so here, we're going to do these little corn husk dolls. I don't have the corn husk yet, so I do have to get those. But I also have tin can lanterns. We're gonna make those. I think it would be pretty fun to make candles. It tells you how to do that. The quill, I actually bought her a quill, so she has that. But you can see there are just a list of books here. List of all these awesome books. So I went and got a ton of them, as many as I could get. I had so many like Mayflower books. Even though we've talked about the Mayflower before, we're going to talk about it again. I got some more stuff on the lost colony of Roanoke. We're going to talk about that again. And then, like I said, it just ties in wonderful with these history pockets. This is so much fun. We're making like a little village. Last week, we made this cute little early colonial home. So we are just having the best time with history. And so it's not that I'm not going to use this again. I'm just not for right now. So I just have here that we're going to read our little If You Lived in the colonial times. We're going to do a colonial village pocket. We're going to do a colonial dress pocket, which again is out of our history pockets. And then we're going to for sure do the tin lantern. So these are the things that immediately come to mind that I want to do. And then we'll add to it if we want to. Then up next, we have our Notgrass History here. So, well, not Notgrass History, Notgrass 50 States. And what I did today is we actually had a little bit of time for her to do some independent work. So I went ahead and had her do the coloring page that will go with lesson 14. This really doesn't tie in super closely to the lesson because the second section of the state is like a song and a story. So she could go ahead and do all of this, and then that just opens up some more time for the day when we do lesson 14. So lesson 13, or actually right here, we're doing the lesson review where we're going back and we're talking about New York State, which is what we did last week. So I've split this up to where we're doing half of one state and then starting a new state. So this, we'll do the song and story for New York, and then we will do the lesson on a different day this week for Pennsylvania. Then we'll do this section the next week. So I am not sure. I do like this a lot because I feel like I'm giving a good review the next week on that state, but I'm not sure that she's doing as well with it. So I'm going to continue this for a few more weeks just to kind of see how that goes. So let me show you just kind of as an example. All right, so the way it should be is in 1 week, we would do New York, where we would read all about New York here. We would stop, we would have these little activities, and she would have the one page where we were talking about the river valley. Okay, then the next day, we would come over here and we would listen to the song and read the song, and then we would have this little story about someone from this area and read that. And then something else is the cabin faced west. That is another read aloud that we were doing Rabbit Hill, which went with the first section. Now the second section, which is we've moved on to the Mid-Atlantic, where we were in like the New England area. Now we're moving on to the Mid-Atlantic. So it has its own book, which is The Cabin Faced West. So I actually do have myself a little sticky note for my planner so that I know I need to start this pretty soon. It doesn't necessarily have to be this week, but I need to start it pretty soon. But I also have some really good history read alouds going right now. So I'm trying to like get that first one wrapped up, and then we'll move over to this one, I think, because I actually have one more that I want to do too that goes with history. So we'll see. because I think this one would tie in a little bit better later in our history. So I could just hit this book later when we get to kind of the westward expansion sort of thing in history. But I do have myself noted there that if I want to do it, that is because you don't have to do it with this history. You can just forego the read aloud if you don't want to do it. But this is how the week should look, where you have the same state in the same week. But right now, we're going to do part 2 in this week, and then we're going to learn about Pennsylvania, and then we're going to stop, and then next week, we'll do the song and the story for Pennsylvania. So, like I said, I like it because I feel like I'm giving her some good review, but I don't know that it's working as well for her. So, I'll just see how that goes. I almost feel like she does better if she has both sections of the state. I think she may be retaining more of it that way than even me throwing the review of that state in again on the next week. So, hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, I'm sorry, sometimes I ramble. Okay, let's see here. Okay, let's talk about this. That's something I brought up last week, is doing the novel study that goes with The Last Bear. I decided that I was stopping the novel study, like officially, like where she does the worksheet to it, and I will pull out the questions and just ask her questions from it sometimes, and then other times I won't. I've also read this book, so I can just ask her some questions depending on what chapter that she's on, but she's just not, maybe she just doesn't like this book as much as I thought she would. She's not interested in picking it back up. Like if I say, okay, independent reading time, she'll go find something else. She would rather not read this book. So it may or may not have anything to do with the novel study, but I have taken that out. So she is actually, I need to write this down, but I told you I got a bunch of books from the library. Well, a few weeks ago, or last week, I guess, we were talking about the Salem witch trials that we had a lot of fun with. And she found that very, very interesting. Now, that was actually in America's Story. But then this book right here mentioned reading The Witch of Blackbird Pond, which we've started reading, and that's pretty cool. And so that is making her very interested in that. And so she's reading some of the books that I got from the library on the Salem witch trials. So she is finding some interest in that. And that's where her independent reading is coming in at. So I need to make a few notes there for that's what she's reading. But yes, it's just quite possible. I don't know if the novel study just kind of gave her a bad taste in her mouth with this book, because I enjoyed this book. I thought it was good. But I want to say, okay, she read Walrus Bay, so chapter 5. So she will be starting in chapter 6. And chapter 5, don't want to give too much of a spoiler, but chapter 5 is where she actually comes in contact with the bear. And I really thought, okay, after that one, she'll be good to go. But even today, she didn't want to pick it up. So might just not be her thing. I don't know. And then as far as science goes, we're still doing our space unit here. And we're doing the solar system this week, where we're reading our Magic School Bus book. We also watched quite a few videos. Storybots has a fun little song that goes with the solar system. We listened to that. And then just for me to remember, I went ahead and pulled out all of the rest of our space books, because I want her to start kind of digging into these now. So we have Stanley in Space. We just have a few little readers here, Fly Guy in Space, and then another little step into reading book here where it's talking about the space and the planets and different things like that. And then we have this little glow in the dark stickers, glow in no space, and it is talking about a lot of different stuff as far as the space race. And then there's some little puzzles in here. It's just a cute little activity book that is going along with everything that we're talking about right now. And then you have all of these little stickers as well. And of course we have our paint by sticker that she's done a few of as well, but I went ahead and brought those out so that they can sit on my homeschool cart over here so that I don't forget to have us do them. So again, we're doing IAW. We're still in the sample phase, but I am 100% ordering this. I just need to like get it ordered so that I have it before we run out of our samples. But yes, I wrote down everything that we're going to need to be doing with that, and I think I've covered everything else. So besides the fact that, we may toy with the idea of doing some school on the weekend. So, and I don't want to call it school because then she's going to like balk at it and think, no way. But like the fun experiment things, maybe a little bit extra reading, having some of those, like I have a history book that I'm going to start reading at bedtime. And then we have a fun little science book that we're reading at bedtime. This whole week's planning really is just prioritizing the things that I feel are most important for the rest of the year. And just to make sure that I'm not adding a whole lot of fluff in there. And that way we can get it done and just have the things done that we need to have done. And so that is where my mindset is right now. So if you also are looking at it and being like, whoa, we are, over halfway mark here. What do we need to be doing? We haven't done this, we haven't done that. And it's not even really that so much, but it is a realization of the grade kind of coming to an end here. And are we where I kind of wanted us to be? And so that's where we're prioritizing that writing, making sure that we're really giving some extra work to that. But I hope you've enjoyed this. Sometimes I feel like I just ramble like crazy, but I hope this is enjoyable. I hope it's been helpful if you have maybe kind of the same scenario as I am. You see a lot of other things going on and they're fun and they're great, but that might just not be a priority for you at that time. And that's where we are right now. Is it's not that I don't want to hit different things, but there's a different time I think they could be hit that would serve us better. So I am going to wrap this up. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. I appreciate you spending some time with me. Consider hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already. Give me that thumbs up if you love this video or liked this video, because analytics love it. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.